All right. Welcome to the Sleep Optimization Guide, specifically for healing, well-being, and increasing resilience. So, there are 3 levels to optimizing sleep in functional nutrition and medicine. And this is the first level. And before I get into the protocol here and show you each bit and how everything works together and what you should start with, I want you to think of the big picture for a second. We've got the health of the body that's supported by 3 foundations. The first one is, imagine a circle that has nourishment in it, another circle that intertwines with it that says detoxification, and then the third circle is mind. And sleep is one of those things that affects every single one of those foundations: nourishment, detoxification, and your mind. So this is one of those things that no matter what you're dealing with, it's essential to optimize. All right, so let's start. So first of all, you'll see here in this guide that we have a section on why we're doing this, and that's basically what I just talked about. We really want to remember that even a few days without sleep ruins most people. And now imagine what you're doing to your body when you're chronically sleepless and you're not fully rested, and neither are you fully getting enough sleep. So that sort of thing slowly drains your energy away and, most importantly, causes stress, unnecessary stress in particular. And I really want to point out that stress is expensive, very expensive. And we want to use that, your energy, your whole energy, to healing, to optimizing your well-being, feeling good, having good energy, and of course, to restore your resilience, right? So we don't want to waste any energy on stress. So that is what the introduction here says. And I just want to make sure that you also know that you're not expected to do everything here in level 1 all at once, all in one day. Take it one step at a time. Start and then don't stop. That's it. It doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you do not stop. That is a phrase, ancient phrase from Confucius himself. So let's follow that motto, eh? Okay, so here is what we're going to do. So level 1 of the sleep optimization foundation is the foundations. So there's going to be 2 rituals at the very least, and then 2 other, and one sort of bonus action, and then another one that will be a surprise. So let's start with the ritual. So the first ritual has to do with food. I call it the wind down window. And what it is you finish eating your last meal or snack or whatever food you happen to have. You finish eating it 3 to 5 hours before you go to sleep. All right, so clean example, if you go to bed at 9, you finish your last bite at 6. Okay, so here I go into a little bit of why it matters. It's fascinating science, and we've got really good data on it, why it's working and all that. But long story short, it basically frees up energy for your body to focus on sleep. And sleep is designed for your recovery. So you want to take all that digestion energy and just shift it over to recovery. So that's why essentially it works. And you might be very surprised at how well it works, even if you just start with 3 hours. It's awesome. So work your way up to 5, because the benefits just increase and increase to a peak of 5 hours before bed. So 3 hours, already awesome. If you don't want to go any further, that's totally fine, but start at 3. And a little tip here, just set your alarm for 3 hours before bed. So if it's 10, set it at 7. Call it something like it's time for sleep magic or Operation Wind Down. I've had a lot of interesting names over the years. I've seen a lot of them. They're very fun. Make it fun. This is supposed to be for you, right? So great tip. Just set an alarm. Now, again, here's the science behind it. Really, really cool stuff. Long story short, digestion increases your core body temperature. And temperature is an interesting thing with sleep. If there's too high, then you don't sleep as well. It's very interesting. And then there's some other stuff here. So we have measurable results of poor sleep quality, poorer, we should say, and more awakening at night, not so fun, and reduced REM sleep. So this is where you dream, right? So, and then the last part here is we also have really good evidence that it really helps our blood sugar regulation. So if you're dealing at all with inflammation in your body, with stress, with hormonal issues, and of course the big famous one, diabetes or cardiovascular issues, anything that helps your blood sugar regulation will help those other conditions. So this is really, really powerful. Now, that is the first ritual. It sounds pretty simple, right? Like it's just pause eating. That's it. I hope that sounds as simple as it sounds to me, and I'm sure it'll become second nature as soon as you get into it, just one day at a time. Now, the second here is called eye level light. This is not something a lot of people hear about, but it's very important. So here's how it works. So also within 3 to 5 hours of your bedtime, I want you to switch off all the lights that are above your head or above your eye level, and turn on lamps or lights that are low to the ground that are below your eye level. This is a very important physical cue for your body that you're in at end of the day kind of environment. And we have been roaming the planet mostly outside for most of our human history, and the signal of light to our body is very important for our sleeping rhythms. So when we are exposed to light that's above our heads and that's intense, our body automatically associates it with middle of the day. And what should you be at the middle of the day? You should be awake, alert, active, right? Not preparing to go to sleep. So that's like a little, like, long story short of why that works and what the biology behind it is. It's so cool. And the other thing I'd mention here is just focus on putting the lamps in the places that you spend the most time in at night, like your living room, your bedroom, your bathroom. In fact, the most important place where I want you to put these things is in your bathroom for sure. Usually the brightest lights in our homes are in our bathrooms because we want a lot of light to be able to see clearly how we look in the mirror. So that's usually why we have so much light in the bathroom. Now, at night, when you wake up and you have to go use the bathroom and you turn on that light, instead of a low light that's below your eyes and that's softer, that's more yellow, amber color, not a bright white light, you just either wake up at worst you feel very woken up, or at best you feel kind of like internally your sleep rhythms, your hormones, that process that's already started gets disrupted, so you won't feel as good when you wake up the next morning. Now, so that's basically the second ritual. Very simple. Again, it's the same time of day, 3 to 5 hours before bedtime. Start winding down your light exposure and start bringing it down. This mostly consists of just getting more lamps in your life or moving them around a little in your house that you already have. So very interesting, and your household will thank you as well, because they will also feel the calming energy of less light and a different shade of light, even if they might resist it at first. They will definitely like it eventually. Now, Again, the science is really cool on this. I'll leave it for you to peruse here, but long story short, it's like what I said. We have data that supports that your body's actually responding to the angle of light hitting your eye. So if it hits you from down and up, that gives your brain a different response, like versus having it from above and down, and as well as the intensity of the light and the color of the light. So, but for now, I don't want you to focus too much on the brightness or the color. I want you to focus on bringing that light down, bringing it up into your eyes. That's really, really first important step. Now, with that in mind, that's just 2 rituals that are really essential to optimizing sleep. And what I'd like to also point out here is that, we'll leave that for you. It's very cool to go through the science here, but I'm going to keep going here. And the next part of the rituals and the guide here is, yes, so restless to restored. So this section here is for anybody who feels like or is bothered and wrestling with waking up at night a lot. So there's lots of things we can do about that, but I like to start with the minimum effective dose. That is the thing that works for most people most of the time, because I would like to have the least amount of intervention in your life rather than throw a bunch of fancy stuff on you and we don't really know which one's working and then you're stuck with a whole bunch of habits or supplements or whatever in order to feel better, half of which probably aren't working. So what we're going to do instead, we're just going to scale it back and start with one thing. The minimum effective dose for most people that wake up at night is this hack here. So it's called the honey sleep hack. And here's what you do. So you take 1 tablespoon or 15 milliliters, one of those serving spoons. It fits into 15 mils. Or if you want to weigh it, it's about 20 grams of honey. It's raw honey. That's very important. And you take it right before bed or right before you brush your teeth. Now, why it matters is that it's also because it supports your blood sugar, like we mentioned before. So a lot of people don't know that if your blood sugar goes too low at night, one of the ways in which your body reacts to that is by releasing stress hormones. Because a super low blood sugar is a stress signal to your body, and many people don't know that. So, blood sugar concerns are not only for diabetics, just quick thought, but in general. So you have this stress signal in your body, and what it does is that it gives you quick sugar into your blood, so your blood sugar goes up and you feel better. But at the same time, the stress hormones also make you really alert and wired, because that's what stress hormones are supposed to do. So your body feels like it won overall because you survived the night, because if your blood sugar drops too low, you die. But you don't feel great and you lose sleep and you're restless and it sucks. So not so good for you, right? So this is why this honey hack really matters and often is enough for most people. So you take just enough. 20 grams is just enough not to overwhelm your blood sugar and not to be too little. And then your body has this very stable glucose release over the night, so that you don't really have as much of a dip as before, and then your body doesn't have to respond with that super stressful response. So, and here's some science behind it. Very cool. Long story short, we've seen in animal studies that it supports deeper sleep and more continuous sleep. That's very exciting for a lot of people who have racing thoughts sometimes, wake up at the same time every night. And we choose honey because it's not exactly the same as most processed sugars that you find out there. It has other things in it that are also helpful, especially in the raw format. And these things are helping with the natural stress response that's occurring in your body. So all of that is to say, definitely try that if you're really struggling with those same time every night you're waking up and not getting back to sleep very easily. And speaking of not getting back to sleep easily, one of the side effects of stress hormones in the middle of the night or anytime is automatic negative thoughts, specifically looping negative memories, general recall of things that you did that were stupid, or something you're embarrassed about, and as you can imagine, just lots of overwhelming thoughts that are often intrusive, as I say here, and insistent. And it's something that's really hard to get out of. You feel like you're caught up in them. So that's what stress hormones do. That's just a sign to you, when you're feeling these thoughts, okay, I must be in a stressful state. Okay, that's most of the time. Sometimes there's something more going on, but this is a really good rule of thumb. And here's what to do about it. So this is called the quiet mind ritual. So if you can't fall back asleep and you're still waking up, I want you to do this slow breath technique. It really helps reset your nervous system and turn off that stress response and pull your body back into the rest mode. So here's how you do it. It's really nice and simple. So first, you want to just let go of the physical tension you might be holding in your body. So one way to do this is when you're lying down is to tense up your body really tight and then consciously release each part of your body, because this is a really good way to figure out if you're tense in the first place. Because if I just tell you to relax, you might have your shoulders up here and be like, okay, I'll relax, but you don't realize that you're holding tension. So first you want to clench up, get everything tight, and then release so that you really know that you're fully relaxed. And do that for each part of your body. And this just takes like a minute. So lie still, consciously relax each part of your body, starting at the toes, moving up to your head and your face and everything. So then practice the slow breath technique. You might be very familiar with this already in the program, but it basically is breathing slowly and quietly through your nose and out through your nose or mouth, as you prefer. So specifically, it's a slow 5-second inhale, like, and then exhale for 6 seconds. So this is slow, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it helps, you're counting in seconds by counting in thousands. So for example, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That's how you know you're going at the right pace. And other than that, that's the best tip I can give you, because a lot of people tend to do this too quickly. So take that. And so you inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for at least 6 seconds. You're welcome to go longer, but this here is totally enough. It's all you really need to do. And then start again. So just this one cycle, that's one slow breath. So keep doing it, I'd say at least 5 times, and that really starts to shift your body really nicely into the parasympathetic, the relax and rest mode. So, and the one important thing that I really want to point out here is that this will not work if you resist the thoughts that keep intruding on you. So, for example, something really scary comes to mind, or really embarrassing comes to mind, or whatever, and all you gotta do is not resist it and just say, thank you, brain, thank you, whatever, for that information, and then gently return your attention to your breath. You don't have to say anything about the situation. You don't have to evaluate it or judge it. or decide on what you're going to do about it. The most important thing is just to notice the thought, not resist it, and just say thank you for that information, kind of neutrally, and then shift back to the breath. And that repeating that will really bring this quiet mind ritual all the way home. And I really want to highlight this is really the most important part of this, because people really fall into their thoughts again or their memories again very quickly. And the trick is not to resist them. So, long story short, here's why it matters. Again, this is back to stress. So stress takes a lot of energy, and we want to shift into our relaxed mode as soon as possible, especially when it's happening to you in the middle of the night and all you want to do is get rest. So take a look at these. These are very interesting little points here. And if you want to hear and read the whole slow breath practice, I left a link directly to the blog where I go into detail on how to do it, why we do it, and what the results are. We've got some really interesting client data on how well it works, so enjoy that. Or just go straight into using it, because believe me, it's very, very, very powerful. So now this is it. That's it. It's like 3-4 rituals, 3 rituals and 1 bonus ritual, really. And here's the actions we want to take for this guide here. So first, there are one-time actions. So you just need to do this once and you're done. My favorite kind. And then there is nightly ritual and routine, and what you want to do from here on out to master this level 1 of sleep optimization. So let's go through the one-time actions. So first, we have create a wind down window and make an alarm for 3 hours before you go to bed. Start with 3, move up to 5 as you like. And then set up your eye level or below eye level lamps in the key rooms in your home, especially bathroom, bedroom, and living room. Very important. And last one, place a small jar of raw honey anywhere where you have your evening routine. So for example, your bed, your washroom, something like that. Sometimes your kitchen too. And that's it for the one-time action. Very simple. So nightly ritual routines. You've got the ritual of stopping eating 3 to 5 hours before bed. You've got switching to lamp lighting in the bed evening 3 to 5 hours before bed. So this is, you're turning off the overhead and you're turning on the lamps. And then we have a little experiment for you. This is interesting. This can also help people. So the honey trick can help people also improve their sleep in general sometimes, even if they're not waking up at night. So experiment, whether or not you're waking up or not, with taking a tablespoon of raw honey before you brush your teeth and right before your bed, and see how you feel. And evaluate how it went overnight and how you felt in the morning. Were you rested? Were you restored? Do you feel ready to go? All those things. Just listen to your body. And the last one, for racing thoughts, you know what to do. Don't resist them. Thank them for coming, and then move on to your breath. So that's it. Super simple, really, if you look at it. It quickly becomes like second nature once you get into it. And my final thoughts here for you, and for you to get the most out of this guide, is to think about just how much time you spend sleeping. As you see here, I wrote down here for you, we spend about 1/3 of our lives sleeping. If you think about it, that's 56 hours a week. That's 240 hours each month, and 3,000 hours every year. Overall, it's approximately 25 years of our life we're just asleep. So where does all that time go to? Is all that just wasted time? Of course not. It's very restorative, deeply helpful time for our body, because it's where your body repairs, your brain gets rewired, your spirit itself gets rejuvenated. And of course, when you honor and take care of the sleep, this 1/3 of your life, the 2/3 of your life get a lot better, because I don't want you to be spending time on recovering in the 2/3 of your life when you're already spending 1/3 of your life recovering, right? So in those 2/3, when you're not sleeping, I want you to be doing the fun stuff of pursuing your calling and pursuing your love and laughter with the people you love, and of course, showing up for this adventure that's your life. And that's what we want to do with the 2/3 of our lives. And that involves taking good care of that 1/3 here, which is our sleep. So I really hope you agree that we really want to make every hour count. And that's how we slowly build back our wellness, our health, and our resilience. So, to your success, as always, I'm Isabella, and if you have any questions, please know we can be always reached right here. And if you want to clarify anything, we're just an email away. So, that's everything. Thank you so much, and keep this guide close.